Astronomers and scientists keeping a very close eye on a strange traveler.
It came from behind our solar system, a mysterious wanderer streaking through the cosmic dark. It went behind the sun, now it has reappeared. The interstellar visitor named 3IATLAS has returned.
The interstellar visitor designated 3IATLAS, the third object confirmed to have originated beyond our solar system, was already one of the most enigmatic bodies ever detected before its latest and most confounding twist. After months of observation, astronomers noticed something that seemed impossible within the framework of known celestial mechanics. The object abruptly reversed its trajectory. Without any apparent external influence or physical mechanism capable of producing such an effect, 3IATLAS has defied explanation. Its motion through the solar system, already strange, has become a source of profound confusion and unease within NASA and the broader scientific community. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. When 3IATLAS was first detected, its hyperbolic orbit immediately identified it as an interstellar traveler. Much like its predecessors 1 Oumuamua and 2I/Borisov, its initial approach was swift, slicing through the outer solar system at a velocity far too high to be bound by the sun's gravity. Telescopes around the world quickly turned toward the faint, rapidly moving dot. Early analyses suggested it was an elongated body, possibly tumbling, reflecting sunlight with a dull, irregular sheen. Nothing about it was particularly alarming, until a few weeks into its passage, when subtle deviations began to emerge. Its trajectory did not fit precisely with predictions. Small anomalies in acceleration hinted that some unknown force was acting upon it, though at first these were dismissed as observational errors or outgassing effects similar to those seen in comets. But 3IATLAS was cold, inert, and lacked the dusty halo that would indicate sublimation of ice. As 3IATLAS passed through the inner solar system, its behavior grew even stranger. Instruments aboard NASA's Deep Space Network recorded slight shifts in its velocity vector, inconsistent with known gravitational influences. The data suggested a pattern of minute decelerations and accelerations, almost rhythmic, as though the object were adjusting its course deliberately. Yet nothing in known physics could account for an interstellar rock exhibiting such behavior. By the time it crossed the orbit of Mars, teams at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory had ruled out most conventional explanations. Radiation pressure from the sun was too weak to produce the observed deviations, and there were no known magnetic or solar wind phenomena that could induce such a controlled pattern of motion. Then came the reversal. As 3IATLAS continued outward beyond Jupiter's orbit, its velocity slowed in a manner that seemed purposeful. Telescopes in Chile and Hawaii reported the first unmistakable signs. The object's motion relative to background stars had changed direction. Within just a few weeks, the hyperbolic escape path that should have carried it forever away from the sun appeared to bend inward. Computer models showed the impossible. The trajectory had reversed. Instead of fleeing toward interstellar space, 3IATLAS was now heading back toward the solar system, accelerating along a return course that no known physical law could produce. For NASA, the event triggered an immediate re-examination of every line of data. The reversal could not be explained by gravitational capture. The sun lacked the energy necessary to pull an object moving at that speed back into orbit. Nor could Jupiter or Saturn, massive as they are, have provided a slingshot powerful enough to redirect 3IATLAS. The simplest hypothesis, an error in measurement, was quickly eliminated as independent observatories confirmed the reversal using radar and optical data. Whatever was driving 3IATLAS to turn around was real. The object had changed its direction under some unknown form of propulsion, though there was no visible emission, plume, or energy signature accompanying the maneuver. In the control rooms of NASA and other space agencies, the atmosphere turned from excitement to something closer to disbelief. The implications of a non-gravitational reversal were staggering. If 3IATLAS had indeed altered its trajectory, then the forces acting upon it were not natural. It suggested either the presence of mechanisms within the object, some internal system capable of generating thrust, or the influence of an external factor not yet understood. The idea that the object might be artificial was whispered but not spoken officially. Scientists, wary of sensationalism, avoided invoking intelligence or purpose. Yet privately, many were forced to admit that no natural explanation fit the data. As the object approached its new inbound path, instruments were trained on it continuously. Spectroscopic analyses were performed to detect any sign of chemical activity, ion emissions, or heat signatures that might indicate an outgassing or reaction process. None were found. 3I-ATLAS remained dark, reflecting light weakly, with a surface spectrum unlike any asteroid or comet cataloged before. It appeared metallic in composition, though the ratio of reflected wavelengths did not match known alloys. There were no thermal spikes, no radiative fluctuations, no evidence of volatile materials. Its silence in every measurable wavelength deepened the mystery. Whatever had caused the reversal had left no detectable trace. Theoretical physicists began to speculate in increasingly daring terms. Some suggested the object could be composed of exotic matter interacting differently with gravitational fields. Others proposed that it might be exploiting quantum effects or responding to an unknown form of cosmic drag. A few considered the possibility that 3I-ATLAS was not a single body at all, but a fragment of a larger structure, perhaps responding to remote stimuli. None of these explanations satisfied the data completely, yet they underscored the enormity of the puzzle. A reversal in motion implied either control or physics that humanity had not yet grasped. The reversal also had a precise timing that made it more unsettling. It occurred just after the object had passed the heliopause, the boundary separating the solar wind from interstellar space. The timing suggested a relationship between the solar environment and the object's behavior. Perhaps some property of the heliospheric current sheet had triggered the change, or maybe the object had responded to the transition between different plasma densities. Whatever the cause, 3I-ATLAS appeared to have reacted to a specific threshold as though it recognized it. When NASA's New Horizons probe was repurposed to take long-distance observations, its instruments captured faint imagery confirming the reversal trajectory. 3I-ATLAS was accelerating at a steady rate inconsistent with passive drift. Calculations showed that the acceleration was smooth and continuous, not impulsive. This suggested sustained thrust rather than a single event. Again, an impossibility for a natural body. The data indicated that the acceleration matched the curve of what might be expected from an ion drive or some form of directed propulsion. But no known system could function without emitting radiation detectable by the array of sensors that had been tracking it. The silence across the electromagnetic spectrum remained absolute. As the weeks turned into months, 3I-ATLAS continued on its reversed path, approaching the outer planets again. The realization began to sink in that the object was returning on nearly the same vector from which it had arrived, as if retracing its steps. Astronomers debated whether this meant the reversal was pre-programmed, a kind of automated maneuver responding to distance, sunlight, or gravitational influence. The symmetry of its path was uncanny, almost deliberate. Even without invoking intelligence, the trajectory implied precision far beyond any chaotic natural process. Within NASA's Astrophysics Division, the discovery prompted long nights of heated discussion. The protocols for interstellar object observation were rewritten, and all available instruments were recalibrated. Teams from the European Space Agency, the Japanese JAXA, and the Chinese CNSA collaborated to cross-verify data. None could find a flaw in the measurements. The reversal remained fact, standing as one of the most inexplicable astronomical events in modern history. Some scientists began to compare it to the mysteries of dark matter or dark energy, unseen forces dictating the motion of galaxies, but on a microcosmic, intimate scale within our own solar neighborhood. The question of causality dominated every conversation. If 3I-ATLAS had changed direction due to an external force, what could it have been? The solar wind was weak, incapable of producing the sustained acceleration. Magnetic reconnection events in the heliospheric current sheet might nudge charged particles, but not a multi-hundred-meter object. Gravity from unseen bodies could not produce a reversal so sharp. Every simulation run by NASA's computational astrophysics team ended the same way. The only way for the trajectory to invert was if the object had generated thrust. That conclusion brought with it a wave of existential speculation. If 3I-ATLAS was self-propelled, it might not be a natural relic of interstellar space. Perhaps it was a probe or a remnant of something far older. The idea of an automated interstellar mechanism coasting between stars and adjusting its path according to unknown parameters was both thrilling and unsettling. Humanity had long searched for signs of extraterrestrial technology through radio waves and megastructures, yet here was a silent object moving under its own power with no emissions to betray its nature. Still, there remained the possibility of a deeper physical phenomenon, one that might challenge current understanding of motion and energy. Some theorists proposed that 3IATLAS could be interacting with space-time curvature in ways not accounted for by classical physics. If it were composed of materials that altered local gravitational gradients, it might fall along invisible slopes of energy. Such an idea bordered on speculation, but it fit the data as well as anything else. The object's apparent indifference to known forces and its seamless reversal hinted at a relationship with the fabric of space itself, rather than any propulsion we could recognize. Throughout the scientific community, a quiet tension emerged between curiosity and unease. Observers knew they were witnessing something unprecedented, but the inability to explain it gnawed at every assumption about the natural order. Space was supposed to be predictable. The orbits of planets, the motion of comets, the trajectories of asteroids all followed the same universal principles. To see one object disobey those rules so blatantly was like watching a law of physics collapse in real time. As 3IATLAS moved inward again, the sunlight reflecting from its surface revealed subtle shifts in brightness, perhaps due to rotation. The flickering pattern hinted at facets or panels, features that seemed geometric rather than random. Some researchers speculated that the shape might be influencing its motion through a complex interaction with solar radiation, though the intensity required would have to be orders of magnitude greater than observed. Others noted that the light pattern appeared to follow a sequence, repeating in intervals almost like a signal. These claims were met with skepticism, but the data remained open to interpretation. The implications extended beyond astronomy. If the laws of motion could be circumvented, then humanity's entire understanding of propulsion and energy efficiency might need revision. The possibility that interstellar space contained objects capable of manipulating their trajectories without conventional force redefined the limits of what might exist beyond the sun's reach. 3IATLAS, once a curiosity, had become a challenge to science itself, a question written in the language of movement, demanding an answer that physics could not yet supply. NASA's inability to provide an explanation was both a scientific and philosophical crisis. Since its founding, the agency had prided itself on unraveling cosmic mysteries through methodical reasoning. Yet here was a phenomenon that eluded every instrument, every model, every hypothesis. The data were solid, the math consistent, and still the event defied logic. Meetings at the Goddard Space Flight Center grew hushed, dominated by equations scribbled over whiteboards that led nowhere. Engineers who had spent decades mastering orbital mechanics found themselves questioning the very foundations of Newtonian and relativistic dynamics. 3IATLAS became a mirror reflecting human limitations. It reminded scientists that the cosmos still held secrets beyond our reach, that even the most precise instruments could confront the unknown. The reversal of direction was not merely an astronomical event, it was a philosophical one, a challenge to the belief that the universe was entirely knowable. The mystery forced observers to confront the possibility that the cosmos contained processes not yet visible to human senses or describable by human mathematics. The event also sparked new interest in interstellar monitoring programs. Telescopes once dedicated to exoplanet discovery were retasked to watch for faint moving bodies entering the solar system. Artificial intelligence models were trained to detect anomalies in trajectory data, searching for other visitors behaving like 3IATLAS. The hope was that a pattern might emerge, a clue linking these interstellar intruders through common motion or origin. So far, none had shown similar behavior, reinforcing the uniqueness of 3IATLAS. Some proposed that the object might not have reversed completely, but rather transitioned into a higher dimensional path. If space-time curvature could be manipulated, perhaps what appeared as reversal in three-dimensional space was merely a shift along a deeper axis. This concept, though abstract, captured imaginations across the astrophysical community. It connected the mystery to theoretical models of wormholes, quantum tunneling, and energy conservation violations that could manifest as directional changes. Though speculative, it underscored how far 3IATLAS had pushed the boundaries of accepted science. Meanwhile, the public reaction grew intense. As news of the reversal spread, people around the world turned their eyes to the stars. For some, it was a symbol of discovery, proof that the universe still held wonder. For others, it was a source of fear, a reminder of forces beyond human control. The narrative of a silent object turning back toward the sun captured imaginations and anxieties alike. Yet amid the fascination, NASA remained cautious, refusing to label the event as artificial or extraterrestrial. The agency's official stance was one of measured uncertainty. The reversal was real, its cause unknown. Behind the scenes, however, astronomers continued to gather every possible data point. Observations from radio telescopes in Australia and the Atacama Desert were cross-referenced with infrared scans from orbiting satellites. Tiny fluctuations in its path were charted with obsessive precision. Every anomaly was cataloged, every glimmer of light analyzed. The pattern of acceleration suggested control, not random perturbation, and that implication refused to fade. As 3IATLAS approached the orbit of Saturn, the question of its intent, if any, became unavoidable. Was it returning to study the solar system? Was the reversal part of a pre-programmed cycle? Or was it responding to something within our planetary neighborhood? These questions blurred the boundary between astrophysics and philosophy. Some researchers warned against anthropomorphizing a natural event, but others pointed out that every physical model had failed to account for the movement. Without another mechanism, control seemed the only remaining explanation. The deeper scientists probed, the more mysterious it became. The object's albedo remained constant, its rotation unchanged, its spectrum silent. The only thing that shifted was its path, a line drawn through space that bent where it should not. The simplicity of that fact was almost unbearable. Motion itself had become the message. In theoretical circles, new frameworks began to emerge. Some physicists suggested that 3IATLAS might be demonstrating principles of inertia manipulation, the ability to alter mass-energy relationships without expending traditional fuel. If such technology existed naturally or artificially, it would revolutionize interstellar travel. Others looked toward vacuum energy, proposing that the object could be harnessing the fluctuations of quantum fields as propulsion. Both ideas bordered on speculation but represented the desperation to make sense of the impossible. At the same time, a quiet reverence took hold among astronomers. The more inexplicable 3IATLAS became, the more it seemed to represent the essence of cosmic mystery. It reminded humanity of its infancy in the face of a universe far older and more complex than any civilization could yet comprehend. The reversal was not merely an event to be studied, but a reminder that knowledge itself has limits. Even as instruments grew more precise, the universe had found a way to whisper its secrets in a language still beyond translation. The scientific community's fascination with 3IATLAS grew into a new field of study: dynamic anomalies in interstellar bodies. Papers poured into journals, each attempting to reconcile the reversal with known laws. None could, though each offered fragments of understanding. Models of non-Newtonian mechanics, speculations about space-time topology, theories involving quantum propulsion. Yet despite the array of hypotheses, the heart of the mystery remained untouched. No one could explain why 3IATLAS turned back. As it moved deeper into the solar system again, the object maintained its speed and direction with eerie stability. Predictions showed it would cross the asteroid belt once more, passing close enough to Mars for more detailed observation. Space agencies debated launching a fast intercept mission, though even the most advanced propulsion systems would arrive too late. For now, humanity could only watch and record. The silence of the object, coupled with its impossible motion, rendered it an observer's enigma, present but unreachable, visible yet inscrutable. The implications of the event extend far beyond the motion of a single interstellar object. If the universe permits bodies to reverse direction without detectable energy exchange, then the conservation laws that govern all known physics may require revision. It could mean that space itself is not uniform, that hidden gradients or fields exist, capable of influencing motion in ways we have yet to map. Such an idea would upend everything from cosmology to quantum theory. 3IATLAS thus stands as a marker of the unknown, a dark silhouette against the certainty of human understanding. It has shown that even in an age of satellites, observatories, and deep space probes, the cosmos can still present phenomena that strip science down to wonder and humility. The reversal of direction was more than a mechanical anomaly. It was a demonstration of the universe's capacity to surprise, to remind humanity that knowledge is never complete. As 3IATLAS moved further inward on its inexplicable return course, its behavior began to reveal subtler layers of complexity. Observers tracking the object noticed faint variations in its reflected light that did not align with standard rotational patterns. The brightness curve was erratic, not random, as though modulated by an internal rhythm rather than surface irregularity. Data from high-precision telescopes suggested a pattern of intensity fluctuations repeating in long intervals, far too structured to be dismissed as coincidence. The signal was too weak for communication, yet too deliberate for noise. Some analysts proposed that the changes might be due to a rotating facet or a recurring alignment with sunlight, but others saw in it the possibility of a pulse. Not a broadcast, but a kind of mechanical heartbeat echoing across the void. NASA's spectroscopic readings grew increasingly intriguing. During the return trajectory, 3IATLAS began to exhibit minute temperature fluctuations, almost imperceptible but measurable by sensitive infrared instruments. These variations did not follow the predictable heating pattern expected from changing proximity to the sun. Instead, they oscillated independently, suggesting some internal redistribution of energy. In simple terms, the object seemed to be breathing heat in cycles, absorbing and releasing thermal energy without any external trigger. The pattern suggested regulation rather than reaction, as though its material composition could shift between energy states with deliberate timing. That discovery forced astrophysicists to re-examine assumptions about the thermal inertia of interstellar materials. No known mineral or metal could produce such synchronized transitions without external cause. A small faction within the astronomical community began to hypothesize that 3IATLAS might possess an adaptive surface, one capable of interacting with electromagnetic radiation in ways not yet understood. Such a surface could potentially convert light or plasma energy into directed motion, explaining its earlier reversal. The idea drew comparisons to light sails, theoretical spacecraft propelled by photon pressure, but with an efficiency that would exceed human engineering by orders of magnitude. If 3IATLAS were employing such a principle naturally or artificially, it would represent mastery over a form of propulsion that could bridge the gulf between stars. Yet the absence of any visible structural appendages contradicted this notion. The object was compact, featureless, and smooth, without the vast reflective sheets a light sail would require. Attention soon turned toward gravitational anomalies. As it neared the orbit of Saturn, precision tracking instruments noticed that nearby small bodies experienced minute, transient perturbations when 3IATLAS passed through their region. These were not strong enough to alter orbit significantly, but the consistency of their timing implied that the interstellar traveler exerted influence beyond what its estimated mass could account for. It seemed to possess an invisible gravitational envelope, a distortion field extending far beyond its physical boundaries. The phenomenon hinted that the object might carry mass in a form that conventional observation could not detect, perhaps compacted, exotic, or variable in density. Some compared this to a microlensing effect, where gravity bends light in motion in subtle arcs. If 3IATLAS was generating or manipulating such curvature, it might be exploiting gravity itself as a propulsion method using the geometry of space rather than thrust. As days turned into weeks, the once faint object grew brighter against the star field. Its reflectivity increased unexpectedly, as though its surface had changed composition or alignment. Telescopic analysis showed that its albedo doubled within a short time frame, yet there was no visible fragmentation or shedding of material. It was as if the entire body had undergone a phase shift, the same mass, but now interacting with light differently. Theories abounded: superconductive transitions at low temperatures, crystalline rearrangements triggered by magnetism, or the presence of an artificial reflective coating activating under specific wavelengths. Each idea hinted at materials unknown to terrestrial science, matter engineered or evolved to behave in ways beyond current comprehension. In deep space monitoring centers, the sense of awe was tempered by quiet unease. The reversal had already defied physics. Now the object's apparent transformation added another layer of impossibility. Communication networks across global observatories buzzed with speculation. Some researchers proposed that the object might be entering a new phase of motion, perhaps preparing for another maneuver. Others suspected that the change in brightness was a signal, not to Earth, but to some distant point from which it had once come. The possibility that 3IATLAS was responding to a stimulus from beyond the solar system could not be dismissed entirely. Space was filled with radiation, cosmic fields, and background noise, any of which might act as a trigger if the object contained mechanisms attuned to specific frequencies. The human element of the mystery deepened as scientists confronted the limits of observation. Even the most advanced instruments could only infer so much. To truly understand 3IATLAS, a direct mission would be required, yet no spacecraft could reach it in time. The speed and distance involved exceeded the capabilities of current propulsion. The reversal had occurred too suddenly. By the time agencies could plan, build, and launch, the visitor would already have passed back beyond reach. It became a symbol of lost opportunity, a reminder that humanity's observational power still outpaced its mobility. Every telescope could see it, but no probe could touch it. Yet the data continued to accumulate. Radio telescopes monitoring the region detected faint modulations in background noise whenever the object aligned with certain constellations. These were not radio emissions, but distortions. Subtle shifts in how cosmic radiation propagated through that area of space. The implication was that 3IATLAS altered the electromagnetic environment around it. It behaved almost like a lens or filter, bending radiation in patterns too orderly to be random. If such distortions were intrinsic to its structure, then it might be interacting with quantum fields in a way unknown to human physics. The concept of a field-engineered object entered scientific vocabulary, an entity defined not by its physical form but by the invisible distortions it created in surrounding space. While official statements remained measured, internal communications revealed the strain such a discovery placed on NASA's scientific paradigm. Veteran engineers and theorists found themselves revisiting foundational principles: inertia, momentum, even the constancy of mass. The possibility that 3IATLAS operated through mass manipulation suggested a universe where motion might not be bound by conventional exchange of energy. Some dared to propose that the object's reversal represented a direct interaction with space-time itself, that it had simply changed its relationship to distance, contracting or expanding the medium through which it moved. Such speculation bordered on science fiction, yet it matched the data more comfortably than any natural explanation. The world's fascination intensified. Artists, writers, and philosophers drew inspiration from the silent traveler, seeing in its return a metaphor for humanity's search for meaning in the cosmos. The scientific and the poetic blended in the public imagination. To many, 3IATLAS became a symbol of the unknown intelligence of the universe, not necessarily conscious but organized in ways beyond comprehension. The idea that a fragment of interstellar space could act with purpose, turning back toward the sun as if curious, resonated deeply with the human desire to find intention in the stars. Even as the object moved closer, its enigma deepened. New radar studies indicated that it possessed regions of anomalous reflectivity, pockets that absorbed radar waves entirely. These zones behaved as though space itself folded around them. The pattern changed subtly as the object rotated, creating interference fringes that defied standard modeling. Such behavior hinted at a structure designed to manipulate detection, a property reminiscent of stealth technology, yet on a scale and precision that suggested natural geometry obeying laws still undiscovered. Some researchers proposed that this feature could be a byproduct of its internal density gradients, while others suspected deliberate engineering. Within the academic corridors of astrophysics, debates became philosophical. Could an object exist that blurred the distinction between natural and artificial? If the universe was capable of generating self-modifying structures through processes we did not yet grasp, perhaps the dichotomy between life and mechanism was too narrow. 3IATLAS seemed to exist on the boundary, neither inert rock nor constructed machine, but something in between, shaped by cosmic processes that mimicked design. Its behavior challenged the very language scientists use to classify reality. The longer it traveled, the more apparent it became that 3I-ATLAS followed a trajectory of staggering precision. Its return path intersected its inbound vector at exact mathematical ratios, as if obeying a geometry too precise for randomness. The curvature of its motion aligned with orbital nodes in patterns that some analysts described as harmonic, distances corresponding to simple integer relationships between planetary orbits. While coincidence could explain part of it, the elegance of these alignments invited more speculative interpretations. Perhaps the object navigated according to gravitational resonance, following invisible waves of stability woven through the solar system. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on 3I-ATLAS suddenly reversing its path? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time